It's Tuesday, August 27th, and the 2-year anniversary patch for Call of the Wild the Angler has released. I got up bright and early at 5 o'clock in the morning Eastern and downloaded a 10 gig patch to my Xbox and started playing the event and looked at the new species, and one of them is the Signal Crayfish, as you see here on the screen. And interesting looking little bugger. You can see typical crayfish. And first thing I wanted to look at was what are the traits. So it's a bottom lurker. That tells me I want a feeder ride most likely. And it's a night owl, so I'm going to want a night server. What are the baits that'll bite on? Hot dog is preferred, leeches, liver, minnow, bloodworm, and redworm. So, given the current chumming system, you know that you can throw out hot dogs there to attract the crayfish. So, first thing early in the morning, folks were trying to catch these. When I went out, I started with a 10, thinking they'd be like a Euro or Alpine bullhead in Norway. And I caught several of them, no problem. Small ones. But as we started checking the hook sizes, it became apparent something was strange with these. And turns out the community figured out they'll bite on pretty much anything, and they don't really have a hook pattern like a fish would in the angler. So I went out to the river where folks were reporting in the Discord, and if you're not in the official angler Discord, strongly encourage you to get into that. You can find a ton of very useful information there. But the first location that was found was up in this area here, and that's where I tried on my Xbox and caught a few. And then noticed a post later on in the morning where the first diamonds were caught down here in this area. And I happened to, when I got back on, see Cowboy Kermit's post and ask him where he caught it. And he showed this location right here. So I took a boat down from here, down the river, right to this spot, and you can see my boat, and that's where I'm at right now. So this is a night creature, so and for purposes of this I want to be able to jump right to a night server. So first thing I did was go into options, go over to multiplayer, and turn off multiplayer, the very first option there, so that I can do this. Going to jump directly into a night server. Next thing I did after all of that was go set up some gear so that I can have a decent fight. So I went for the lightest feeder rod in the game, the smallest reel. Oops. 1 pound fluorocarbon sinker. And then here's something really strange. So when I was testing on Xbox, I noticed I was catching catfish, burbo, lots of other stuff that I really had no interest in catching. And the first thing that occurred to me was, well, they don't really have a hook size. Let's go to the biggest thing possible, because nothing else in this river is going to bite on this 4/0. The only thing that's going to bite is the crayfish. So then looking at the chart, what will fit on a 4/0 liver that the crayfish will hit? So that's what I went with next. And then you could see I haven't even caught one on this account yet, so we'll test this live as I'm making the video. So first thing I'm going to do is throw out some hot dog for chum. Set your hot dog. and then go to my feeder rod. And we'll see what happens. So things that I've noticed is, with the hook making no difference, you could catch anything from a juvenile to a diamond on any hook, as far as I can tell at this point in the game. So why not go to the bigger one? You filter out anything but the crayfish. So it's going to be totally up to RNG as to when you get the diamond. When I was testing earlier, I got 3 golds in a row, interestingly enough. So they're not super prevalent, but when I was testing on my Xbox, I did have points where 5, 6, 7, 8 nibbles all at the same time. A lot of times when you go into a new server like this, it takes a little bit of time for the fish to spawn. And I'm sure that includes the crayfish as well. So while we're waiting for a bite, some other things you can consider. You could drive a Jeep up to that point, and the Jeep now, as of this patch, has room for 99 hot dogs that you can put in there. So when I was testing night servers, by the time I ran out of hot dogs, I ran out of night. So I didn't bother to do that. But if you started an evening server, that might be something that's viable to do to prolong your ability to catch. Now, if it did that, I'd probably fish off the bank, because you'd have to fast travel over or park the boat. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If you fast travel, if you don't know in the game, it will reset your fish population, which, based on how this is going so far, might not be a bad thing. No bites, and this is the longest I've actually gone. Gonna go through a whole chum without getting a crayfish, so we're gonna try this again. Put out another chum. And I hope that a crayfish will bite this time. I guess they don't really bite, so it's probably not the best term to use. It's apparently, I think the consensus opinion is they grab a hold with their claws and hook on, rather than anything like biting a hook, because obviously a little 1-pound crayfish is not going to bite a hook of a 4/0 size, or really any size. And there we go. We've got one on. Looks like a small one. And that's the advantage of going to the light gear. You're also going to get a little better score. And there it is. So we got a silver for our very first try. And that's really all it is to catching these. It's going to be RNG whether you get big ones or small ones. Alright, hope you folks enjoyed the video. Happy fishing.